Hi, thank you for watching Digging to China. I'm Dong Xiang. On Chinese New Year's Eve, President Biden spoke with President Xi Jinping of China. The next day, when briefing reporters, Biden said, quote, "They are investing billions of dollars in dealing with a whole range of issues that deal with transportation, the environment, and a whole range of other things. So we just have to step up. We don't get moving, they're going to eat our lunch," unquote. Back in 2019, then candidate Biden said this, quote, "China is going to eat our lunch? Come on, man. They are not a competition for us." It is natural that China would be spending billions on transportation given the size of the country and the billions who inhabit it. Whether it is true that China is spending billions on climate change is another matter. For decades, China has been spending billions on coal-fired electricity generation plants and has only recently made noises about reducing pollution. But climate change is probably the last priority for Chinese regime, while it is spending far greater sums on its military and cyber war capabilities. Xi was clearly trying to trick Biden into some sort of race to reduce greenhouse gas emissions so that the US could strangle its economy while China doesn't do the same to its own. Given Beijing's unbreathable dirty air, China may well be trying to reduce pollution, but how much it is really doing remains to be seen. Biden apparently wants to be known as the climate change president. If Xi can increase Biden's desire to make climate change his top priority for legislation and the regulation, which is likely, China will be greatly advantaged by Biden's committed reductions in spending on the US military and intelligence communities. 2 weeks ago, Biden canceled the Trump order that would have required colleges and universities to report if they had relationships with China's Confucius Institutes, which spread Chinese propaganda and work to change school curricula to favor China. Biden might appear tough on China, but he's soft indeed. Or Biden might be incapable of relating domestic policy to national security. To his credit, Biden is attempting to strengthen the quadrilateral security dialogue, the Quad nations comprised of the US, India, Japan, and Australia. It aims to conquer Chinese power in the Indo-Pacific region. An online meeting of those nations' leaders is reportedly being planned. On January 30, National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan said, quote, "We really want to carry forward and build on that format, that mechanism, which we see as fundamental, a foundation upon which to build substantial American policy in the Indo-Pacific," unquote. Whether Biden will do more than meet with those nations' leaders remains to be seen. Beijing, meanwhile, has flown its aircraft into Taiwanese airspace, continues the oppression of its Muslim Uyghur population, which the Trump administration labeled genocide, recently prohibited the BBC from broadcasting in its nation, and continues to protest US Navy freedom of navigation exercises in the South China Sea, which it claims as its own. In his State Department speech on foreign policy, Biden said he would push back on China's attack on human rights. But what does that mean for the more than 1 million Chinese Uyghurs who have been forced into camps where they are reportedly tortured, women are raped and forcibly sterilized? It is unclear. The best thing Biden can do is to put real American strength behind the Quad nations' nascent alliance. Late last year, China and Russia conducted a major naval exercise in the Indian Ocean. India is a reluctant partner in the Quad nations because it is the only one of the Quad countries that shares a border with China. The best demonstration of Biden's commitment to the Quad alliance would be for the US to take the lead role in a similar exercise by all of the Quad nations in the Pacific of Japan. Locating the exercise there rather in the Indian Ocean might induce India's participation. China's wolf diplomacy, which is characterized by harsh and offensive words employed by Chinese diplomats, is a better barometer of China's intentions than Biden's conversation with Xi. It's a big problem for Biden because that wolf approach is entirely inconsistent with Xi's pretense of friendship with Biden. It aims at all of China's opponents, including the other members of the Quad. What does China's desired relationship look like? In the waning days of 2020, Chinese State Councilor and the Minister of Foreign Affairs Wang Yi delivered a speech at the Asia Society entitled "Reorient and Steer Clear of Disruptions for a Smooth Sailing of China-US Relations." The title itself gives away the Chinese Communist Party's game. It seeks a reversion to the ostensibly pacific relations with the US under which America's ruling class aided, abetted, and enabled its rise from trifling concerns to the US's most formidable geopolitical adversary. Wang would make this view even clearer in a subsequent interview published in CCP mouthpiece Xinhua, in which he said, China-US relations have come to a new crossroad, and a new window of hope is opening. The Chinese side hopes that the next US administration will return to a sensible approach, resume dialogue with China, restore normalcy to the bilateral relations, and restart cooperation. The history of US-China relations suggests that CCP means precisely the opposite of what they tell the US. The CCP's rhetoric is calibrated to appeal to the ear of a West all too willing to be bought off, naive to and/or willfully blind to its motives. As former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo noted in a September 2020 speech to the Wisconsin State Legislature on China's malign influence in the US, when Xi uses the word cooperation and opening up, he means that the Chinese Communist Party wants to create arrangements that benefit the Chinese Communist Party. In Xi's own words, to put China in an undefeatable and invincible position. The nature of the China challenge is clear. There is nothing to indicate that the president the CCP craves, Joe Biden, would be up to the task of meeting it. And every indication instead that America would face a reprisal of the disastrous policies that the Trump administration has worked so doggedly to overcome. Biden will talk and talk and talk and not do anything to seriously oppose China. Therefore, for the foreseeable future, Xi, along with Putin, Khomeini, and others, will eat Biden's lunch whenever they like. Thank you for watching. Please leave a comment and subscribe to my channel. Just click the subscribe button right here. I'll see you again shortly.